Welcome to all. Myself Sita Lakshmi, 2nd MSc Biology, St. Mary's College, Thrissur. Today we are discussing about nutritional types in bacteria. We all know that nutrition is essential for the growth and health of an organism. In bacteria, which utilize the nutritional factors for their nourishment. What is nutritional factors? Some molecule which affect the growth of bacteria, such molecule is known as nutritional factors. They infect positively and negatively. The nutritional factors which include carbon, nitrogen, sulfur, phosphorus, certain trans elements and vitamins. Nitrogen, it synthesis enzymes, protein and amino acid. Phosphorus is dissolved of phospholipids and trans elements which act as cofactors for the enzymatic reaction. And vitamins used as coenzymes. And in the case of carbon, synthesis the organic molecule. And hydrogen and oxygen are the important element found in many organic molecules. And they need electrons. The electrons are needed for two reasons. The first one, generation for the energy through electron transport chain and reduction oxidation reaction. And the second one, reduction of molecule during biosynthesis. And the nutritional types in bacteria, which is classified into three based on the source. The first one, carbon source, and the second one, energy source, and third one, electron source. These are the three classes. Then the carbon source is again classified into two, that is autotrophs and heterotrophs. Auto means self, hetero means others, and trop means food or nourishment. The energy source further classified into two, that is phototrophs and chemotrophs. Photo means light and chemo means chemical or organic or inorganic compounds. Then the electron source is further classified into lithotrophs and organotrophs. Litho means stone or rock and organo means organic compounds. So we move to the first classification based on the carbon source. The first one is autotrophs. Autotrophs, we all know that autotrophs are synthesis of their own food. That's why they are known as autotrophs. So they synthesis their own organic food from the inorganic substance, and they also the carbon source is the they utilize carbon, so the carbon source is CO2. Those are the autotrophs. Then the heterotrophs, most abundant in nature, they do not synthesize any food, or they do not synthesize their own food. They depend upon other organisms, and it may be parasite or saprophytes. And the heterotrophs is again classified into three, that is obligate saprophyte, obligate parasite and facultative bacteria. These are the three categories including the heterotrophs. The first one, obligate saprophyte, some bacteria, they completely depend upon the dead organic matter for their survival. Such type of bacteria included in the obligate saprophyte. Example, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And the obligate parasite, the bacteria which grow within the living host cell. Such type of bacteria are including the obligate parasite. They could not reproduce without a host cell. Then example is Rickettsia. Then the third one, facultative bacteria, which further classified into facultative saprophyte and facultative parasite. The facultative saprophyte, which are obtain their nourishment from living matter, but sometimes they also obtain their nourishment from the dead organic matter too. Such type of bacteria are included in the facultative saprophyte. And the example is Phytophthora. And the next one, facultative parasite, they live primarily in the saprophyte, but they got a favorable condition, they infect the plants. And the examples is Rhizoctonia solani. Then second classification the second classification based on the energy source, these are phototrophs and chemotrophs. Okay, look at the phototrophs. Phototrophs bacteria are whose energy and growth come from the light. They utilize the light energy, and their carbon source is carbon dioxide. These are the main points of the phototrophs. And examples of phototrophs is Rhodobacter, Capsulus, Chromatium, and Chlorobium. And the phototrophs is further classified into two, that is Photoautotrophs and Photoheterotrophs. These are the two classifications under the phototrophs. And the Photoautotrophs and Photoheterotrophs, they both the Photoautotrophs and both the Photoheterotrophs are utilizing the energy source is light. And in the case of Autotrophs, they utilizing the light energy and inorganic carbon to produce organic material. That is Photoautotrophs. Example is cyanobacteria. And in the case of Photoheterotrophs, they utilizing their light energy as their energy source, but they use organic compounds from the environment. Therefore, they obtain the energy requirement by feeding on other organic matter. That is the difference between photoautotrophs and photoheterotrophs. And the example of photoheterotrophs is purple non-sulfur bacteria and green non-sulfur bacteria. Then the second one, chemotrophs. Chemotrophs are the bacteria that their energy source, that is chemicals, that chemical energy source is converted into organic compounds. Such bacteria are including in the chemotrophs. And the example is nitrogen fixing bacteria, sulfur oxidizing bacteria, etc. Then the classification under the chemotrophs are chemoautotrophs and chemoheterotrophs. Chemoautotrophs, an organism that uses the energy from the chemical reaction to generate ATP and produce the organic compounds from the inorganic substance. That is the chemoautotrophs. And the case of chemoheterotrophs, an organism that use energy from the chemical reaction to generate ATP and produce inorganic compounds from the other organism. Okay, that is the difference between chemoautotrophs and chemoheterotrophs. And the other classification, other difference between phototrophs and chemotrophs. Uh, phototrophs Phototrophs are the organisms that capture the proton in order to acquire energy. And in the case of uh, chemotrophs are the organisms which obtain their energy by oxidizing proton donors. In the case of phototrophs, the energy source is sunlight, and in the case of chemotrophs, the energy source is chemical components. Okay, then the phototroph is further classified into photoautotrophs and photoheterotrophs. In the case of chemotrophs, organotrophs or chemolithotrophs. These are the major difference between phototrophs and chemotrophs. And the last classification based on the electron source is lithotrophs and organotrophs. Litho means stone or rock, and trophs means food or nourishment. So the lithotrophs are the diverse group of organisms using the inorganic substrate to obtain producing the equivalent for the use in biosynthesis. And the second one is organotrophs. Organo means organic compounds, and troph means food or nourishment. And organotrophs is an organism obtained from the hydrogen electron from the organic substance. Then the term organotrophs in microbiology to classify and describe organism based on how they obtain the electron, how they obtain their electron, their respiration process. That is the term micro, organotrophs in microbiology. Then some of the bacteria are organotrophs, and the some of the animals and some of the heterotrophs are the organotrophs. And some of the questions are including this portion. The For the one credit, first question, explain the nutritional types of bacteria based on carbon source. So the carbon source is classified into autotrophs and heterotrophs. And the second question, differentiate phototrophs and heterotrophs. Phototrophs and heterotrophs is under the classification of energy source. We can including the examples also. Then the two credit question, explain any nutritional types in any four nutritional type in bacteria. We can including the autotrophs and heterotrophs based on the carbon source, and phototrophs and chemotrophs used in the energy source. And otherwise we can also using the lithotrophs and organotrophs based on the electron source. So we can including the only four types of nutritional types in bacteria. Then the five credit question, write the brief description about nutritional types in bacteria with example. So we can all including the all nutritional types based on the carbon source, energy source, electron source, and the further classification of this sources, and the examples also. Thank you.